People Prism partner. I just created this guy. Able to see my.
Yeah, yeah.
So I am still login McNeil. So
Once you've created this one,
yeah.
you need to assign the employee profile action. That gives permissions whatever you've added. Okay. This is not a role-based security group. No, this is not any other type of security. You need to assign this Prism related security to employee profile so that employee can get access to what all the Prism permissions that you've added, right? Those permissions employee will get. But you cannot do this in this tenant action because you
Yeah,
cannot
except, but yeah. Where should I? How do I assign this one? Okay,
go to
just
security profile.
security profile. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I just about that. Maybe I just thought of checking with you. Security profile.
Assign user-based security group.
Oh, this is also user-based security.
Yeah. So you should be getting an option to add to this
Yeah.
list actually.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it goes going back, right? It's okay.
Yeah. So you should be able to add that to the list.
So yeah, okay. That's okay. Anyway, it are going to work, right? That should be fine. So is this right? Like I want to say, so
Open this one. So people present partner. Okay. So you've created.
I just added. I don't know that part. Uncontrolled security groups I added, but I
Edit
don't
this
know.
one. Go to that the magnifying screen. Magnifying screen is there, no? Prism security, Prism access security groups there. Yeah, related actions and edit that one.
I just added. I don't know
Okay,
how
so
to.
you've added all the domain permissions here and unconstrained security group. You've taken you should be so this should be unconstrained security group should be your user-based security group. Okay, you can take
Oh,
any of
whatever.
any of the user-based security we can take here and add it here. Okay,
Oh, okay.
take for
Like
example take HR admin. Okay, just for an instance to get your kind of understanding, HR admin. HR administrator. Just see if you can
oh,
administrator. Yeah. So once you click on OK and assign this to people present partner to user base employee profile, so they should be able
oh,
to get permissions for all the Prism related activities.
okay,
So
okay. We
whatever
have
they should be able to create a data source, they should be able to publish, they should be able to enhance any of the existing Prism data sets actually.
okay, but unconstrained security groups. Right? This is generally whatever I selected while creating that group. We need to assign that group only, right? Unconstrained security
It's
groups.
yeah, whatever you've created. Just
Yeah.
for understanding, I've given HR admin, but you can use any
Yeah.
of you can create Prism administrator kind of thing. So I can add that Prism administrator to the user profile.
Okay. Okay.
The authentication policies we discuss. What is the authentication policy? It is nothing but to authenticate any user actually. Okay. Authenticate any user whether that person can perform any activity in the tenant. For example, I've given you the integration example yesterday. So you're hiring an employee into Workday through greenhouse integration. Integration is built in Studio that actually picks the candidate from a greenhouse and uploads that candidate into Workday as an employee. So integration is actually hiring an employee into the system. So in order to have integration permissions to perform the hiring, integration should have authentication access actually. So whatever the security group that is assigned to integration security, that
Mhm.
security group should be authenticated actually. So you'll be adding that to the list of the authentication policies and activate authentication policy so that your integration will have permissions to hire an employee. Okay. In that way, you can authenticate any of the user with the security group and have permissions perform activity in a workday tenant actually.
One question here. So the for integration, greenhouse integration, right? So why are you using Studio? Any default not available in
What
EIBs
is
or
that?
that
Why are we using?
Studio to integrate? greenhouse
Studio is
to
a third-party integration tool. Okay, Studio can perform a customized integration actually. When your
Mm,
integration requirements are not able to fulfill with the EIB and core connectors, then you come with Studio. Okay, let's say for example, okay, so there was an integration requirement that when you raise an expense request as an employee, that expense request has to go for a manager to approve. Okay. And your manager approves that expense request. And your business has decided that the moment the managers approve the expense request that employee makes, and a PDF copy should be sent to employee to email address. So these are all the expense details that you have raised, which got approved from your manager, and this is a copy of your request. So which will be listing down all the expense details that employee has made and all the expense amount that is getting reimbursed as part of the reimbursement policy. So your business would have decided that the moment manager approves the expense request, employee should be getting a kind of PDF copy with all the approvals and the kind of expense request that employee is making that shows the outstanding amount, the amount that has been granted as part of expense request that should show to an employee. This is what you have requested, and this is what your manager has approved, and your payroll has paid this one. So a PDF copy should be sent to your employee's email actually. So your EAB cannot do this, your connector
mm,
cannot do this. Your Studio can do this actually because Studio has some kind of components to trigger an email, some kind of components to actually generate a statement. Okay, PDF print is a kind of component that it has. It will be printing the PDF copies and sending an email. We have a component actually, email out component we have in Studio that will be sending an email to employee actually. So where your EAB, your core connector cannot perform this activity. That's the reason why you have used
studio. Okay,
Studio to perform this action.
got it. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Similarly, you can take in HR example. Okay, whenever employee gets promotes, okay, so your business decides that as employee gets promoted, there should be a promotion letter automatically sent to employee email. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this can be achieved through Studio actually, but your EAB cannot do this. Your EAB can extract the promotion data that is sitting in Workday, but cannot generate a PDF copy, cannot generate a PDF letter on the promotion. It cannot do actually. So, but your
So,
studio can do actually. Though it takes heavy customization, but your studio can perform that.
okay. One question here. Like, that means the bird reports, or you're talking about, or like the studio, using your studio, you can modify the bird your report
You can
and
attach your BERT to studio
yeah.
actually. Okay. So whatever the BERT layout that you'll be attaching, right? You
Yeah.
can develop that layout and attach that BERT layout to your studio. Okay. Then your studio will process that for every employee in the system. Actually. Let's say the
Okay.
example that I've given, expense request that I've given, right? You'll be
Yeah.
developing both layout, the expense
Mm,
layout actually. Okay. So that will be
mm,
getting a kind of template. You'll go and attach this template to your studio integration. Okay. And call your business process, whatever the business process, expense even business process there, right? You'll attach your
mm,
integration to that business process. And the moment a manager has approves that, the business process will trigger the integration. So it will
mm.
carry that employees information through integration and through email component that you'll be adding in studio integration that will generate email letter to employee from the email address from the address that you have given, right? Um,
Mm.
so there will be email out component where you'll be attaching email for an employee actually. Okay, there will be a standard email address. So you'll be configuring that, and the moment your business process triggers which approves the expense request by manager, automatically that employee record will get picked up and will be sent a kind of PDF copy to employee email address. So employee can actually see that expense request email has been triggered with the PDF copy that gives a kind of breakup of all the expense details.
Got it.
So here integration will be
Mm.
managing actually, which you cannot do,
Through
cannot
yeah.
attach. Yeah, you cannot attach the layout, bird layout to your EIB or your
Okay.
other integration connector.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Here's an
actually one.
example. Actually, we have a lot of things that Studio can do, which your connector or EIB cannot do.
Yeah. One question. I mean, I asked them like, you were teaching, I mean, recordings with me. a studio. Did you cover all these things in your studio, training on
Today is a separate actually.
rule based?
Okay. So now we have seen authentication policies. Okay, API security and web services. Okay, we'll cover, and SAML setup also will cover actually. Let me see if we have it. I don't think we have a tenant setup access in this tenant actually to show you the SAML setup that we can make.
Maybe we need to be.
Okay, I think so. We can configure, but I think we don't have access in this tenant actually.
Maybe you need to like that. Okay.
So that will go off and go similarly like user-based security group. Yeah. So that will
And McNeil also, Logan McNeil, same thing.
same issue with the logo also. If that is not working, what I can do is I can get some kind of community information.
Okay. Same thing.
So tenant setup, not only it's security, but I don't think we have any other tenant setup. Okay. So no tenant setup access that we have here because that will, I don't think even training tenant we can, they should have given this access at least to show some of the options actually. But I don't know what's wrong. They've restricted, but security I can understand. So to avoid security changes, that they would have given this access. But tenant setup, they should have given access for us to actually explore and show you something to people like you, so that you'll be understanding the underlying configurations. So what I can do for this item is, so I've configured SAML in my office tenant actually. I'll get a screenshots for you. Okay. I'll get a screenshots just hiding the organization information. Okay. So the complete SAML setup that I've made, right? I'll
Yeah,
get a screenshot for you. So I'll talk on that. So what
sure,
configuration that I made and what you need to do. Okay. What your SAML can be done through Okta actually. So Okta vendor has to share some of the IDs to you. Okay. Security IDs kind of things. So where you need to configure those security IDs, all those things. No problem. I'll take a screenshot and we'll talk about that.
sure. So
Okay. And then API security or web services. Okay. Let's say if you're making any kind of integration through web services, actually. Okay. So meaning that through API, you're actually, have you extracted any APIs from the tools like Postman
yeah,
and SOAP API kind of tools? Have you used?
uh,
Have you used anytime Postman?
yeah. Generally, I was using, yes, yes. I used it a lot. Those
Okay.
APIs. Yes.
So
Yeah.
so you're aware of Postmans and how to call APIs in a Postman, right? Okay. So now, generally, when you wanted to call those kind of APIs into Postman and get a data from those APIs, you need to perform some activities at tenant level, actually. You need to grant a security, and that security you need to take into Postman, actually. Okay.
Mm.
So let's say get workers is the web service. Okay. You wanted to call all the worker data through get workers web service. Okay.
Okay.
So generally, okay, you'll do So if you go to the web service called HR, okay,
Mm-hmm.
access the whistle, which will be giving you all the APIs of related to worker actually.
Oh, excellent.
These are all the web services related to HR. Actually, you can find all the requests like, okay, if you come down, you'll be finding all the requests. And performance. It is not able to load. There will be a huge kind
Mm-hmm.
of request actually. You should be getting all the URLs actually. You should be getting all the web service URLs where your tenant should be able to give me that URL. So what you'll do is you'll take that URL and configure a kind of this security. Okay, whatever the other security that we have, no.
Okay.
So it's this security. So where is the
Okay.
security? Registering API, right? Somewhere we did it.
Number five. Number five. API security web services.
Okay. So I think did we register anywhere registering APIs kind of thing? Don't know. Okay. Okay, so probably this would be covering that. So whatever the API that you have collected here, right?
Okay.
So, so you'll be getting all the URLs in the last stage of your API. You'll be correcting that API URL and you'll be registering security for that API. Okay, how you'll be configuring that security is register API client. Okay. So here you'll be registering your API and the redirection URL.
Mm-hmm. Google.com. Whatever. Okay.
There will be Workday host URL. No, Workday host URLs.
Oh,
This will be your endpoints actually. So these are standards for this tenant. Okay. So your REST API endpoint. Okay. Your token endpoint, your authorization endpoint. This would be your authorization endpoint, which will be authorizing your this thing actually. Okay.
mm,
If you take any of the existing one that we have created, to take this as a kind of redirection URL. Okay.
yeah.
For your API creation. Now, once you have given, you need to have your function area. Which function area that you wanted to extract? Okay. So what data that we wanted to extract?
Mm. It's anything like CM or
We need to extract something related to worker related information that we need to extract actually. Okay. So that comes under staffing function area. It also comes under system, which is nothing but a little bit technical things can be handled in the system function area. Okay. So now we have registered your API client. Okay. So once you have registered your API client, you will be seeing your client ID gets generated here. Okay. Your client ID has got generated and client secret also got generated. Okay. So you'll be
Mhm.
using this in your Postman actually. Okay. You'll be
Mhm.
using this in your Postman to call this data from Workday. So how your Postman will be authenticating? Through client ID and client secret, your Postman will be authenticating actually.
Mhm.
Okay. So if you wanted to regenerate your client secret, you can go to the related actions and generate a new client secret. Okay. If you want to generate a new key for that, you can select
Mm.
that and select.
Okay. So if we give Postman, okay, I don't know. Maybe can we see any sample uh, or we get stuff?
Postman,
Like
I don't think we can install here.
how to configure this one? Like maybe I might have this one. Let's check. Postman is no longer supported.
Your Postman account is getting created. So once we have
Okay.
that account created, we should be able to configure the APIs and wherever the authentication details needs to be configured, we can see.
Oh yeah, just I want to see how like now to configure that information
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So meanwhile, I was checking like the I had
Yeah.
studio access.
Hmm.
So studio access, I was able to see a like maybe quickly I share maybe if you
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Uh, I just I asked her to share request. It give
Hmm.
maybe maybe if you're able to access my this one.
You
Wait a
should be
sec.
able to share now.
See, I was looking this information. I will edit tenant security here.
Oh, you're able to find what is it? iadmin underscore dpt to tenant. What
Yeah.
is the tenant that I'm using? My tenant is RP Rapid IT underscore DPT1. Okay, your tenant and my tenant is different, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why maybe you can maybe once we done that one, maybe if you want, you can go here also. That's
Okay. So come
I
down.
yeah.
Come down. Do you see any existing setup for SAML? Come down.
There is
Yeah. Come down.
there is
Here
some.
you'll be. Yeah, here you'll be doing the SAML setup actually. Okay. Your provider will be sharing some of the information, and based on that, you'll be configuring this information. Yeah. So once we have something covered what we are doing, we should be able to look into this. Okay, I'll show you how we can configure the SAML setup.
Okay, maybe if you request access, I'll grant you. Then you can go edit, or you can show here also. Or if you have access, you can get it from them for easy for
I
you.
don't know. I'll see if I can get access to this tenant.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's, yeah, Postman got created.
Yeah.
The username on the ticket. Okay.
Okay.
You're able to see my screen now?
Yes, yes, MZ.
Okay. So this is a view of your post
Postman.
actually. Okay. You can do get and
Postman.
post calls. All these calls you can do here. So all you need to do is you need to get a kind of final authorized endpoint here, which you have created.
Okay.
So this will be the endpoint actually. Or what you can do is if you're trying to call the data that is sitting in the web service, okay, you need to post that web service URL here.
Hmm.
Have something here that we did pick right. So you'll have for any web service that you go, right, you'll have a kind of a base web service URL at the bottom of the WSDL actually. Okay. So now you'll have all the XML code that will be generating. If you go to the bottom right, you'll be having the
Oh,
standard web service URL, which you can use that as an API.
okay. Because of that because of tenant is taking loading time or
So it's a huge WSDL actually. So might be tenant performance. I think it's not able to return the complete XML that is releasing actually. Okay. Can you try from your tenant to see if this is working? I just wanted to show you the URL actually. So
okay.
go to public web services and access human resources and go for go for.
I was tenant have me there.
So if you can see here, yeah, I think I was able to get here. If you see here, the last, right, HTTPS W2. So this URL that you're seeing, right?
Okay.
Okay, this would be the
Yeah.
base URL actually. HTTPS www.amplservices.workday.com. CCX service line, rapid ADO, this is tenant name, and this would be your web service actually. So you can actually pick this URL. You can actually take this URL and access in Postman. Okay, whatever the Postman that you've created, right?
Yeah, yeah. Web service. Yeah. UI. Web
Yeah,
service.
so that, okay, so we just go and create our own web services.
Go to Chrome. Yeah.
We've already created. Now why it is asking again?
No, actually, maybe the Chrome is open new window. Maybe previous window one, window two, maybe.
So if you see this one, right?
Yeah.
So this URL you can actually take.
Yes. Oh,
Okay, this URL will give like this and authentication.
okay.
Go for authorizations.
Hmm.
Basic auth, whatever the client ID
Hmm.
that you've given, right? Client
Okay.
ID that you got from where is that register API?
Yeah. Hmm.
This, right? This one you got, right? You can take your client ID here. This would be your username actually. Your client ID would
Okay.
be your username,
Yeah. Okay.
and your password should be,
The secret. Maybe the space. Hmm.
and your password would be the key actually.
Key.
Okay, this will be the right. You don't have a key, so what I can do is I can generate a key for you.
Hmm.
You have new client ID generated. Take this
Hmm.
and add it to your Postman. Okay. Now, which call that you wanted to make, you can actually make. Okay. which call that you want to make, you can actually make a call, whether it is a get call or post call, whatever you want to have, you can actually make actually. Okay. So there is some security issue that is coming up. That's the reason we are getting 404 here talks about security. Okay. So maybe the user that I'm trying does not have access to this API. Okay. That could be the reason. You should be seeing
Okay.
this error. Okay. So, but the configuration is same. Whatever we have configured it, that should reflect the same actually.
Right, right, right. Okay.
Okay. So that is for both REST APIs and SOAP APIs. The same process you'll be following for REST and SOAP actually. Okay.
Okay.
So you need to generate a URL and pass it to the REST API URL, and from there it will take further.
Sorry, I lost the connection. Like, when do we generate these things? Like, generating APIs and somebody's asks us, or like, can you
The
explain one
third
more?
party, so we have discussed it, right? EIB, we
Yeah,
are
yeah,
discussing connectors, we are discussing Studio, right?
yeah.
So what all these integrations can do, they can actually integrate the data to a vendor, no? So
Yeah.
file-based integrations, okay? So file-based, those are called a kind of file-based integration. When vendor says that we don't want to have any file-based integration because that is actually creating a heavy, so we don't want to have a heavy list of the files, send us through API. If that vendor asks, you can actually create an API with this process.
Vendor. Okay, got it. Okay.
Okay. Vendor is a third party. Okay. So when
Okay.
third party system provider says that we also have APIs and we can actually accept all the API endpoints and all. So based on that, you can actually configure that.
Okay. So the security admin role is like, generate this API, give the information, username, password to them, or like, no, they will provide us username, password, the API, the client ID and secret.
So we need to create we need to create a security for the API
Uh,
that is in Workday actually. So we need to create that and test this one. So we'll be sharing this URL with username and password to vendor actually. But in order to ensure that we are able to get the data from this, we'll be testing this one. Okay.
okay.
We'll be testing on this one, and vendor also will be sharing the URL, and the URL access details will be sharing, and from there vendor will be taking further.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. That's how
Mm-hmm.
your API security generally goes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is one way of doing your registration for API. Okay. You'll be doing and you'll be calling. There is one more called API for integrations.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are saying API client. So currently we have created this one. Okay.
Mm.
Or you have a task to create API for integration. Here you will see little bit difference actually. Okay. So
Mm.
so that would be a kind of functionality that you'll give and click on OK. Here also you'll be getting the same details.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be getting client ID and you'll be getting client secret, which you can use for further integrations actually. Okay. There are two kind of activities that you can do with integration.
Mm.
So as usual, you can take this information and configure in your Postman or any SOAP API to extract the data.
Okay. Generally, the API should work, right? The whatever, like, no, then. So when do you use post? Then we are getting the information. So will they give any, like, the body or anything for us, or like how to test that? Only get APIs or anything else we use in
So,
this kind of thing.
so generally worker information they'll be expecting actually because all other information we rarely integrate. Okay.
Mm.
For all the worker data from get workers, from all the web service information related to get workers,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be creating this kind of APIs and configure for integrations actually.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clear, right, on the API setup. So all you need
Yeah.
to do is if you have a Postman or if you have SOAP API, you'll be generating URLs from Workday and configure those URLs and grant a security for that API. You can explain the process actually. Okay, how
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
what
Generally, understand.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah, what process you follow to create an API kind of thing. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
And what else? Can you share some of the questions that you were showing? We can see
Yes, sir.
what all those
Yes, sir.
questions. Okay.
So definitely. So these are the questions yesterday we were talking about here. This one also how affecting people, right? This you mentioned. Okay.
You're sharing your screen. I don't think I'm seeing your screen.
Not able to see.
No, I'm not seeing your screen.
Let me share again one more time.
We have started sharing to close the to the tab you view.
Okay.
Where is that tag and view?
Able to see? Oh,
But something is saying that you're sharing your screen. I don't know from where I need to. I'm not seeing it show here. So, how do I balance collaboration with IT governance and business objectives when implementing security measures? Okay. So I think we discussed this. IT
yeah.
governance is nothing but a kind of audit team we have. Okay. So we are serving only for Workday. Actually, as a kind of security administrator, as a kind of security analyst, we are serving for only Workday product. But they have a lot of other products also that they need to maintain. Okay. Like outside of Workday, the security configuration, how it is going, and that authentication policies and all, how they're making all those details and all, we'll be checking
Okay.
with your audit team actually. So once you have a kind of understanding how your internal security has developed, so based on that, what kind of security that you can go, okay, how standard that it will make to have your security affected kind of things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any use case to remember? Any use case here or like basically
Uh,
so
I can say for every 3 months, right, internally audit team will be making some kind of audits actually. So there was one audit team um, where they've identified the security changes without any kind of screenshots actually. So whenever we make any kind of security changes, right, your security administrator will be running a report for every month. Okay, who have made the security changes? Why did they make all those changes and all? They'll be making a kind of spreadsheet. Okay, so you'll be adding your screenshots or your approval for the security changes that you're making in that um, so basically, security auditor will ask you a kind of artifacts. Okay. So when you're making security changes, what is the
Mhm.
approval and where did you make the change and what is the impact of your change? A kind of artifact your security administrator and your auditor will ask you. Okay. You'll be providing that documentation and your security auditor will make that updates. Okay. And once a kind of external auditor comes and manages that, external auditor in the sense someone from Deloitte, someone from other
Mhm.
organization who are into auditing. So who will be validating your security checks and see if they can reduce any kind of measures for that. Okay.
Okay.
So, so now what I was asked to do is get a kind of report from your external audit team that whatever I've created is working as expected and there was no security threat for them. Okay. So that was one thing. And the internal one, if I'm actually making for integration security changes, once the security changes are made and run the integration to see those impacts actually. Okay. So in that way, you'll be associating with the internal security governance team and will be able to handle the other requests that employee will be managing.
Got it.
And steps to ensure compliance with data privacy standards. This is not a workday question. Okay, still
Okay.
ensure compliance with the data privacy standards. So it's not a kind of security related to workday, but they're actually asking how your internal privacy security standards are there. Okay, how do you take that in order to achieve your results? Is what they will be taking some kind of information from there. Okay, so ensure your compliance data privacy. So who should have access to what? Who should be sharing data for what? So all these kind of activities here
Mm-hmm.
compliance team will be having, and you'll be collecting all those details. Though it is not a kind of workday activity, but you'll be noting what all the things that we can do through compliance data privacy activities.
Okay. That I can, in general way, I can,
Yeah, however, the your delivery should be something related to specific what we generally do frequently in a tenant actually. So you can take some kind of example that I've referred, but note down any kind of steps actually. So note down any kind of steps and start delivering them. If you're not clear, we can rediscuss this again and again. We can rediscuss till you get a clarity.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
And how would you handle urgent security defect affecting people actually? Okay. So based on the ticket that you got, it's a kind of urgent issue what they're saying. The severity also should be the same actually. Okay.
Hmm.
So when you have your security that is actually making effective for the integration, which is actually getting invalid data. So which is
Mm-hmm.
immediate fix that you need to make because next time it will take some other information. So you need to fix that immediately, the security issue by going into the employee profile or candidate profile. You'll be going and you'll be fixing the issue actually. Okay.
Okay.
So if your
So,
integration is getting failed, you wanted to avoid that failure. Okay, so just review what all the permission that it has. What is the permission that it is missing? Get all those details, and that should actually resolve the issue.
okay. So if what kind of, maybe in general, they might ask recently, did you see any kind of integration issues? How did you resolve? So maybe generally what kind of integration issues we will see. The basically, let's say ADP is not integrating properly or those kind of, we have any example top of your mind that.
There can be many integrations. Let's say your connector is there. Okay, your connector
Mm.
is there. You have created integration security group for a connector and attached integration system user to run this with the username actually. Okay,
Okay.
and your connector is actually getting failed. Okay, getting failed or is written blank data. Okay, it is written blank data because you have not given any kind of right security for that one, and it is giving a blank data, and it's your target date time has come, and you should be giving a right security that gives you the value from the selection list actually.
Okay.
Okay. So to have security configured for the connector and ensure that security is giving your integration to run properly and have your integration configured for security group. And then when you actually run the integration, it will be failing actually. So when you see the failure, you'll be seeing some kind of authentication issues for the integration. So based on that, you can understand integration has failed because of the security issue. So what you can do is you can go to that particular security element. Okay, let's say personal data is one of the area where your integration is actually failing, saying that unauthorized access kind of thing. Okay, so you'll be reviewing all the security. Basically, when you are actually developing any integration, whatever data that you are actually adding, right, you'll definitely has to provide a security for that. No, so if you're adding any,
Right.
let's say take an example connector. Okay, connector, you are giving all the fields that you want to have: employee ID, employee name, employee person information, employee, all those things. So if you're assigning integration security, okay, for that, if you're running with your user, you will have all the access and that will be completing successfully with your user. But for example, in general scenario, in real-time scenarios, there are less chances for you to run an integration with your user actually, because when you get terminated, that integration will start failing actually. To avoid that kind of scenarios, what we'll generally do whenever we create an integration, right? We'll create a security for that integration. Okay. When you create a security for that integration and have a security group running the integration, So you'll be seeing some kind of unauthorized access or some blank data you'll be returning for some personal information if you have not given, if your user does not have a security. So then when vendor sees this file, output file that you have sent through integration, he'll be saying we are getting some incomplete information, not a complete information, he'll be saying. Then you can come back and see what needs to be fixed actually. So which data columns return blank, whether we have given the right security for those or not. You'll be troubleshooting the issue and you'll be fixing that. And then after you make a fix, you'll do a kind of one more run, and that will give you complete enough understanding in playing around with integration actually. What security, what data has got messed up or not, you should be able to understand clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be a kind of generic scenario, I can say, failure kind
Okay.
of things. Mostly when you're working with studio integrations, okay. Studio integrations, studio is a third party integration, okay. Studio is a third party integration. Let's say you're actually doing benefit changes actually, okay. So you're loading all the benefit changes for an employee, okay. And how this has to happen? Through change benefits web service, integration has to load the data, okay. Now we have not given access to the security, and you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to perform an integration that loads benefit changes for an employee. Okay. So to have a kind of proper completion of the integration to load benefit changes into worker, you need to provide benefit changes web service access to the integration. Okay. If you're seeing my screen, let me share my screen again.
Okay.
I'll show you how. Saying we need to grant change benefits web service access to the integration. No. So how we can provide that access? Just in this example for change benefits, but you can replicate the same for other web services also. Okay. So now if you can see, if you see my screen,
Right.
so view security for securable item. What is that? It is a change benefits, right?
Mm.
Change benefits web service. Okay. Okay, you can see here change benefits web service task. Okay. You can go to the security, and this would be the initiation action. You need to go to the related actions. I'm going to the initiation action, and here you will be making that web service actually. Okay, you can see here change benefits web service is there now. Whatever
Okay.
the security group that you have created for the integration, right? You will be adding.
Yeah.
Generally, this would be the format of your security group actually. Okay, integration security group. Okay, so you'll be adding this kind of security group to here, so that will give permissions for your integration to perform any kind of change benefit transaction.
Okay.
Okay. Similarly, you can actually get any other security access. Okay. Any other security access, you can actually get and add it to the list. That will give you permissions to perform initiation action or any kind of security action for that web service.
Okay.
Okay. Clear, right? Any question?
Yeah. Clear. Clear. I got it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your security issue can be, it can be web service security, which is not letting your integration to upload the data. So you identified that that integration security group does not have initiation action. So what you need to provide, you need to go to that security group and grant initiation action for that security group, so that whenever it is integrated to
Mm.
whenever it is getting integrated to Workday, picking the data, it will be able to load the benefits to employee profile because you have given web service access, right? That will authenticate that and load the data into Workday.
Mm.
Either it can be through EIB or it can be Studio or it can be anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Clear? Any questions?
Yeah, this one, yeah, clear. Yeah. I mean, I just mentioned, right? I have to go through and write line by line. I'll check like now. Maybe I can try to pre-put this.
Just make a notes, make a summary. Okay, make a summary on these things and
Yeah.
deliver this whatever you have summary, and just go for a navigation section, whatever the description that we are seeing, right?
Right.
So you know the tasks. View security for securable data can allow you to configure the security for any of the web services and also for any of the authentication policies. Okay, you can actually take that as a kind of reference and perform some activities involved.
Sure.
Okay,
I'll do that. Yeah.
fine then. I think we should be good for today.